Hello and welcome to this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me, where we focus less on the dis and more on the ability of what we can do. Join us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Broadcast and Facebook Live. Looking forward to seeing you there.
What's up, everybody? It is that time again. It's Wednesday and it's 2 o'clock, and it's time for episode 80. 80, 80, 80, 80, 80. Can you believe it? Episode 80 of My CP Does Not Define Me. Now, I've told you guys I did a radio spot yesterday. I put out the flyer yesterday. Yes, I should have put out the flyer earlier, but I did what I did and it's done. So you can't go back now. But right now, today, this is the day that I said you don't want to miss. I told everybody, I said, do me a favor. I said, get your popcorn ready, get your salt, get your butter, get your extra flavored topping. Because this one right here is going to be good. And it's going to be so good that I'm going to make you wait a little bit. Because our guest of honor is not quite here yet. He's getting ready. He's in the dressing room getting his aftershave and all that and everything that Quarry Wilson does in the Quarry Wilson way. You see, today is the episode I've been waiting on for 3 years since this show debuted. I've been trying to get Mr. Wilson, but he is a busy man because he truly is a jack of all trades. He does a little bit of everything. I'm pretty sure that if you put Mr. Wilson behind the podium, he would start it out with My Fellow Americans, and then the rest would be history, and all the world's problems would be solved in a matter of months. Yes, Mr. Wilson could very much run the country, and I'm actually, hold on, I've got to resend the link here. Sorry about that. And I can actually, give me just a moment. Small little technical difficulty here. I'm still with you guys. Bear with me. We all have technical moments, but I'm going to solve it right now. All right, there we go. I just sent the link to I'll send it to Kelly R. Smith too, just to be safe. Hold on 1 second. Thank you all for bearing with me. Be just a moment. There we go. Now we got all our bases covered. All right. So as I was saying earlier, and thank you all for coming in and bearing with me here. It'll be just a second. We're waiting on our guest of honor to get in. I admire Quarry quite a bit. And, the thing is, I admire him because one of his greatest attributes, I think, is that he always thinks before he speaks. The Wilson family is famous for thinking before they speak. except for Kelly. Kelly's kind of raw and unfiltered. Y'all know that, but that's what I love about her. It's all or nothing when it comes to Kelly. But I know, I know for a fact I wanted to have Mr. Wilson on this show back when the Sports Minion was debuting. I wanted to have him because it was just the type of thing where I knew, if I could get him on, the two of us would quote unquote roll very well. As Miss Wilson and I do, we have, a great, we have a great rapport with each other, and it's the type of thing that it's just good. And I know that Mr. Wilson is the same way, because one thing about Quarry is when Quarry speaks, people listen. And he's not loud and obnoxious and, any of that. Quarry is often quiet. And the thing about it is you have to listen in order to, be able to understand and see where he's coming from, because he will give you the answer, but it may not be the answer you're ready for. And on quite a few occasions, that is what's happened to me with Mr. Wilson. And it's valuable nuggets of information, valuable pieces that people need. Valuable pieces. Mr. Wilson is the type of person that you want to listen to. And in a lot of ways, you have to listen because if you don't, you're going to miss out on vital information. All right, so let's get pulled up here. All right. I'm going to let him sit down first before I bring him in. I'm going to tell you already. I tell you it's going to be a good one. I ain't lying. All right, here we go. We're bringing him in. I was, but I guess he ain't ready yet. I might have hit the button prematurely. Sorry about that. He'll be with us. Hang on. But no, what I was saying was the conversations that I have with the Wilson family are valuable because they're life lessons. And the thing about it is, when you deal with the Wilsons in general, you deal with life lessons. And you deal with them in such a way that you say, wait a minute, I didn't think about it that way. I didn't see it that way. It didn't occur to me that way. But just because it doesn't occur to you a certain way, it doesn't mean that it's not a life lesson. It doesn't mean that it's, not a a lesson that can't be learned, to where it's one of those that you hold on to. And what Quarry says, you hold on to. It doesn't matter if it's about something that you struggle with. It doesn't matter if it's something that you had fun with, because those conversations are valuable. Okay. And what we're going to talk about today in being with everything is we're going to talk about fathers. Now, to me, being a father is very, very important. But I just want to take a minute and want to let you guys soak this in, because what it's about is a lot more than just the title. So give me a second, make sure we're good to bring him in this time before I. Okay, I'm gonna press the button now. Without further ado, the man of the hour, Mr. Quarry Wilson. How you doing, Mr. Wilson?
How's everybody doing? How you doing?
Man, I'm so glad you could be here today. I've been waiting on this one. I've been promoting it. It's like, Fraser and Tyson. You can't, everybody's. I told everybody to have their popcorn ready. So I want to just give you a minute. For those of you who don't know Mr. Wilson, my first question to all my guests on my show is: would you please explain just a little bit about yourself, what you would like to share, and just tell the world about Mr. Quarry Wilson.
Well, my name's Quarry Wilson. I'm the CEO and founder of Let Go Radio, co-owner. I don't want to get in trouble. Along with Kelly's Choice, I do a lot of different things with the organization there as far as putting events together and staging and different things like that, helping the visionary out pretty much to run the nonprofit that she has. Been doing that for a while. I'm also a caregiver to my daughter Kelly. Been doing that for a long time, but she's a joy to be around. So it just makes it every day a joy, and it makes it seem like it's just it's seamless. The process. So, but that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'm a big kid at heart, and I like to have a lot of fun. DJ is like family, so when he asked me to do this. It took some hooping and hollering, but tracking me down. But we wanted to get together and go ahead and do this.
I said yesterday, I said good things come to those who wait, because you're the type of guy you can do a little bit of everything, and I've noticed that, and I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. Man, I wish I could do that. Wow, I didn't know that was possible. But your ability with technology is, to me, it's uncanny. So let's go back a little bit. How did you get involved in the dabble of doing a little bit of everything? Was it always that way, growing up? Were you like that, just hands-on?
Always. I was one of those kids who used to take vacuum cleaners apart and put them back together, take watches apart. I remember my mom had a gold watch that I took apart. My father bought from Spain, and I took the watch apart, and when they found it, there was a few pieces I couldn't put back into movements, but yeah, they actually found the watch, and they had to take it to the shop to finish putting it together. But, it's always been my passion for the ability to put things together and build. It's one thing to have a vision of what you want. It's another thing to actually be able to make it happen, or at least be connected with someone who can make it happen for you. And that's where I was placed with, Edwina, because of course she has great visions. But a vision is only going but so far if you don't have a way to make it plain. Mm-hmm. And that's my gift.
I mean, did you? So moving forward, because we're gonna get to Mama Wilson in a minute, because that, the two of you to me are like peanut butter and jelly. I mean, one without the other is you're like, you're not whole. I mean, you are, but you're not, because you complement each other so well. It's like. And you said it. She has the vision, and when you're on the same page with Winnie, and you're knowing what she wants, you're going to do anything possible to make it happen, because what she sees is gigantic. I mean, sometimes it's so big she can't even wrap her brain around it, because she always says, if you don't dream big enough that they scare you, your dreams are not big enough.
That's right.
And I look at you and I'm like, is there anything Quarry Wilson can't do? And I say that, and I'm not bragging. It's just, you're phenomenal with so much stuff. I mean, it's. I guess I've seen people that are considered a jack of all trades that can do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But to me, you're much more than that, because what I want to dabble into, and today's show, is kind of get into the father role, because I've heard that it takes a man to be a father, but I learned very quickly that when you're a single parent and you hold down 3 jobs to take care of 2 kids, one with a disability, my brother and myself included, and the father decides to drop away. The father's going to make choices, but the mom has to take that role because there's nobody else there.
Right.
And I just, in your life, what was your father like? I mean, what was your upbringing like? Would you mind sharing just a little bit of that?
My father actually he was there. I mean, he was always around, taught us a lot, shared information with us, shared life with us, talked to us about different things. My mother and father separated, and I actually got, she remarried. And my stepfather, he was in the military. So, of course, unlike most people, who think military people are very strict, he was very laid back. He was very relaxed, but he had a love for life. So, we got to do things, got to go out and enjoy, different places, car shows and boat shows and things like that. So I've always been around people who actually just had a great feel for life. My mother, my brother and sister. So, it just really added to who I was as a whole, wanting to live life and enjoy myself and learn as much as I could, just because of the fact that it was available to me.
Mm-hmm. I look at, so we start out, so your background was pretty solid. So, I mean, whether it was father, stepfather, what happened, you had that role. What did that mean to you growing up? I mean, was it easier?
It was, because you had, of course, you have two people to talk to, two people to confide in, two people to live with and enjoy life with, because of if they're working together, then it makes, your childhood growing up even better, because you can see what it should look like to be in a relationship, to be supportive, things like that. So yeah, it definitely added to my upbringing.
So this next question: have you always wanted children when you were growing up? Kind of like, did you know right away that you wanted children, that kind of thing?
And nope, no kids in the picture at all. Just just living life and having fun, working. I'm a hard worker, so I like to go and actually work. I mean, if you let me, I'll stay at work all day, all night. But you still have to be able to enjoy those things that you do. If you go out and work, you got to enjoy the downtime as well. So, but yeah, children was not in my forefront of what I thought I needed to have, or I was looking for, at the time of my youth.
And that's why I asked this question. Now, you notice what he said, because I've learned very quickly to what comes out of Mr. Wilson's mouth. Pay attention, because it's everything. And I've learned with the Wilson family, it's a circle. So you kind of got to look at this and go, wait a minute, because my mother was a single mom, my father was out of the picture, my mom remarried a few times, didn't work, and is what it is. She did what she did with what she had, and she did a pretty good job. Matter of fact, she did an amazing job raising her sons. And she gave us everything she had. When it comes to that role of, okay, you meet Miss Wilson, it is what it is. The quiet knock. I know the story. I don't know how much you want to share there. What was it like for you meeting Kelly the first time?
Oh, Kelly was awesome. I mean, she was a joy. She was happy. We just sit on the floor and play together and just enjoy time together. I would come over and not just be with, Winnie or Miss Wilson. I would actually spend time with the family and just really, integrate into what they were doing in their lives as well. And that's what it was. That's what it's all about. You don't go into I'm not going to say a situation, but you don't go into a relationship of any kind, whether they have kids or not, and not expect to be a part of that relationship. A lot of people go in and they have agendas, or they have motives, or whatever the case you want to call it. But at the end of the day, you want to be a part of that family, of that unit, and take everything that comes along with it. And of course, Kelly, being a part of that family, she was definitely, on board with everything, and she was going to be a part of everything.
So kind of just to dig in a little bit, I'm going to put the shovel in the dirt, as it were. I feel that you're the type of person, and I've known you for a long time, not as long as Miss Wilson now, because y'all been married a good minute.
Let her tell it. She still don't know me.
Wow. I'm gonna let that one go right. Yeah. So when you commit to something, you're in. You're all in. You don't have to commit on anything.
No.
I you knew right off up front that Kelly had a disability, and because I'm sure Miss Winnie let you know, because she will let you know, and how it goes and what it is. So you were given the information up front.
Yeah.
Did that deter you at all?
No. I used to tell her when we were first dating, I say, it's easy for someone to love you, but they have to also take in consideration to love those with you.
Woo!
And that includes Kelly and everyone else in the family. That's what you have to understand is that, it's easy to just walk in and say, I want you, you look beautiful, everything about you is great. And then she opens up the door a little bit further and you see the children sitting there and you're like, oh, well, I didn't expect that, but you open up the door further and you have to go, oh, wow, awesome. Let's keep on moving and let's see see how we can make this.
You were the first. Look, my father made a lot of mistakes, and I'm gonna be honest, because this show I'm gonna talk about my dad too, and the turnaround that he has made in the last 2.5 to 3 years is a godsend to me. I never imagined that God would bless my relationship with my father that I didn't have at first. To now, you look at 2022 and you look at what my father has done. Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm sorry I haven't welcomed everybody. I'm flashing the comments up here as they come. But I gotta say this. Something that you said, to love the wife is one thing. To love the person that you're dating is one thing. To step in the door and love the family, they're there. They're part of that. They're what help make Miss Wilson Miss Wilson. So see, this is getting into it. Just I don't hear a lot of fathers say the right stuff, and it's not just because it's coming out of your mouth. That's powerful. Most will see kids and consider them baggage. I don't agree with that. Kids are not baggage. If you help them and you mature them and you give them part of yourself and help to raise them, which is what you've done with Kelly, to help, you're imprinting yourself on the children and hoping, if I say this the right way, that they carry on the pieces that you've carried. Am I right in saying that?
That is correct. I mean, when you raise a child, whether it's your child or a stepchild or just a relationship, you are imprinting pieces of yourself on that child, your beliefs, your understandings, how you process information. And believe you me, it is an awesome feeling when you can look back and see that child make a decision or do something that is in correlation to what you taught them, and then say, wow, that was because of course that's something I would have shared with them, or that's something I did share with them, and you can see how it's impacted them in their decision making. That's a beautiful thing, because of course now that can be also on the bad side, because you can impart some bad choices or bad decisions, and your child have that moment as well. But the good decisions and even the learning decisions are always a benefit to everyone, because of course you can see that child grow and enjoy that growth.
Let's talk about the imprint for a minute, because I'm gonna tell you that the first time I met you, I went, this dude is for real. Like, because I noticed very quickly that it's that calm, cool, collected, the Quarry part of the conversation. It's not most guys, big football player type, they walk in and you're like, I ain't messing with that. Ooh, I'm gonna stay back. But you, I speak softly, but I carry a big stick. I mean, that's just, and it's, you imprint everyone that you meet, and you try your best to do it in a positive way. You are very slow to anger. I don't think I've ever seen you angry. I mean, I'm sure it's in there, and Lord have mercy, do I not want to wake that bear? I'm just saying, most men I cannot say are slow to anger. I try to not be, but I got my father's temper, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Now, in the same sense, when you are angry, you still can teach in that mode, and I've never known anybody to be able to do that.
Well,
Keyword hindsight 2020. That's all I'm. I just the little pieces. I love that. How did you? I guess to learn to was there a specific life experience that helped guide you in a certain direction of just say anger is not going to work? This is
It's been, there are moments in time where you want to get angry or agitated. I get more agitated than I get angry. Of course, and that's just the situation of I wouldn't have done it that way, or that process is not the way I would have taken it. But I'm still on the point of, even though it didn't go the way I anticipated it, I still can roll with it and adapt to it. And that's what you want, adaptability. Most people are not adaptable. They are one way, they're fixed in their situation because that's the way they were brought up. Whether they were taught to stand your ground or fold at the side of pressure, you just stay forward and you stay steadfast, and you just keep moving forward and know that if you can adapt to it, you can get through it.
So in that father role of adapting, when times were the toughest, and you know what times I'm talking about. I mean, there was a moment, and I believe you were both present on this, where y'all shared everything.
Oh, yeah.
And y'all still do. But to me, this right here, when the times are the toughest, you stayed with Kelly and you worked with her and you helped take care of her and you helped bathe her and got her where she needed to be and up and dressed and all of that. That's hard to do. And 24-hour care on a mom, let alone, is one thing. Because when she gets bigger than mom, then she's got to carry her. She's got to figure out how to transfer her. Having that help and having that father to stay in the picture, not because he has to, because you wanted to. What made that happen? It just, because that's one of those things I begged my father to stay. Like, and from 5 to 15, my mom said, "You're not going to do this anymore. When he turns 18, he can do what he wants." But you stayed the entire time. Like, how do you do that? And on top of it, there's a difference in a disability, having a disability, which is cerebral palsy, but total care. A lot of people can't grasp that. Total 24-hour care.
Yeah.
How in the world do you work or not have a job or do both and take care and still stay in all of that when you're up here with what you're trying to deal with, but still maintain that father role?
I'm not going to say it's tough, because it's only tough if you feel like it's a burden to you. It's, God told me what I had to do. And because of that, that's what I do. No questions asked. Whether I'm there, for instance, I used to go to work early in the morning. So what I would do is I would make sure that before I left, Kelly, was in the bathroom, she was dressed, whatever she needed to do. So that way, my wife could actually have an easier time throughout the course of the day. And then when I came home, if she wanted to go out and do something, we made it a point to get Kelly in the van or the car and take her wherever she wanted to go. If she wanted to go to the store, go out, just so that way she could always feel like, she's a part of the family and nobody's leaving her behind because of whatever's going on.
But it's that right there. See, you seamlessly flow right into the next thing I was going to talk about, because Kelly is a part of it. It wasn't, let's let Kelly be a part of it. It's, y'all understand what he just did? Kelly is a part of it. She was never not a part of it. So you don't make someone a part of something that already is a piece of the pie. You understand what? I think that right there is all we need. Every disabled child, whether it's a small, teeny, teeny little disability, or it's a big, oh my God, how do we take this piece of pie and make it? It's only, you can't say it's tough unless you feel like it's a burden to you, is what you said, I believe.
That's it.
Just, again, I told y'all before, nuggets right there. That's the piece that I was waiting on, because you bring God into it. Now, look, I'm going to say this on air. Winnie walks with God well. There's no woman on this planet. I'll say it again. No woman on this planet. We live. I ain't never seen no woman on this planet walk with God the way that Winnie walks with God. I'm telling you. Stuff she told me, I remember all of it. It's up here. This is a sponge. Every story that she's told me, my mouth, like, you have the moment. Now, when you get two of them, now see, this is the right people. When you're evenly yoked, when you have the same vision, when you see eye to eye on what you want to happen, I think that is powerful. Now, I want to this comment right here, because we kind of getting into the meat of it. My father hated me because I had a disability, and now wants a relationship with me after 30 years of no contact. Question: should I give him a chance? I have forgiven him, but I've decided recently not to build a relationship as of yet. Okay. Now I want to say one thing on this comment. My father made a lot of mistakes. Left, came back. I would wait in front of the door, pack my stuff. I'm coming to get you in 20 minutes. He would never show up. I would cry, yada, yada, yada. All this stuff happened. Okay, I was angry for a long time with my dad. My dad used to always treat me like I was 2 years old. Daddy loves you. Daddy's going to get you. Daddy's going to... Okay, you're going to stop all that mess. So once I became a man, we had a conversation. I can honestly say when he chose to realize that what was sitting in front of him, or either let God work on him, or finding the right woman that kept him straight, or a combination, when he realized that I wasn't true, that I wasn't two, and he started treating me like a man and started talking to me like a man and realized what the son I was, you only get one father. I'm lucky enough to have two, okay? You only get one. You never shut him out. If you shut your dad out, you want to make it better. Don't make it worse. After 30 years, he wants contact. Something could happen. God could have something in store for you that you just don't know. You don't see. You got to give it a chance. You got to start somewhere. There are parts in there that aren't healed yet. There are deep scarred stuff.
Yeah.
Deep scarred stuff in there, Tony. That's a tough question. Let me throw that question to you. What do you think? I
don't think you should, cut off contacting or connecting with your father. So the way I see things, as we age from childhood to adulthood, we are given opportunities to learn. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't learn. They repeat, they cycle, whatever you want to call it. But in the process, because they're not learning, when your father didn't see, or in a sense, he could only see the disability.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, he couldn't get past that, whether it was guilt and him thinking that maybe it was his fault, or maybe he felt like, something that he did in the process, or whatever the case may be, doesn't necessarily take away from the fact that he's trying to make amends now. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to let him back in and y'all, hugging in the shower and y'all calling each other buddy and slapping fives. Mm-hmm. But you at least start the process and open the door to say, you know what, let's talk about what happened and let's build on that.
See, that's when my father amazed me, because when we sat down and we had that conversation, and it was, It was when my father learned that I'm not playing, and it's no more. I'm 40 now. His transformation could only be by God. There's no way. There's no way. Part of it is his wife. Part of it, the wife that he found, he's been with her over 17 years, almost 20 years. That woman is amazing. Anybody that can stay with my father for overnight and for 17 years, woo, let me tell you. You ain't lying, Jack. But now, I will say, my father is quicker to listen than to jump. See,
Right.
and that before didn't happen. He will call me out of the blue and say, "You want lunch? What's up? Can I stop by?" And I'm like, "Who are you? And what have you done with my father?" Like out of nowhere, call. I'm on my way to get the supermarket to get some fish. You want some? Like, and I'm like, what? Because it took me a minute to understand. You gotta let the healing process start.
Right.
In order to make it work. If he's trying and he's doing the best he can, I can't stop that. I can't.
Yeah, don't stop that.
I can't halt progress. I can't be mad when you're angry and you carry stuff. It's heavy. It messes you up. You carry anger and you get sick. And that's powerful, Mr. Wilson, man. I'm looking at this, and 36 into the show, they just comments boom, 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 because we hit it, and I knew we were going to hit it because it's not hard to be a father. To me, the hardest part is to do what's right all the time.
Right.
Because you got so much left and right, trying to outside stuff, I would have done this. My child tell me, that's you gotta cut all that off.
Yeah.
It is a miracle, Cindy. It is where my father is today, and I tell you, it's partly because of Mr. Wilson saying, "Wait a minute, don't snap." I've a couple times I've been so mad. I'll go outside and talk to Mr. Wilson, and Ms. Wilson, I'll be pacing up and down, and it just hold on a minute. Whoa, stop. What's your real reason for being angry? Once you figure out the real reason, not the reason that you think, once you figure out what's really bothering you and you process it, that's when the healing starts.
Yeah.
Once you admit why you're angry, anger is not going to do anything but make it worse.
Yeah. Plus, you can forgive and still close yourself off, but that's not helpful. If you're going to forgive, you're going to truly forgive, then you want to forgive and give a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You want to give an opportunity to see where it goes and see what you can build on. And if it's something because you can always see signs if something's not going the way you anticipated to go. But you have to give that time. You have to give it time to build on that and grow on that. And that way you can understand where you want to be. So you have to set, if you're going to do it, you want to set goals where you expect the relationship to go, father and son or father and daughter, whomever is out there listening. You want to be able to set the goals whether it be, siblings or brother, friends. You want to set an expectation of what you expect the relationship to evolve to. And don't be unrealistic though. Don't say you wanted to go to the moon when you're looking for an anthill. You want to be able to say, I'm expecting us to at least be cordial, to be able to sit in the same room together, to be able to talk to each other, to be able to say hi without feeling animosity. And that way I can understand that, from there we can move forward to maybe one day I can give you a hug or you can give me a hug, or, we can actually embrace together and say, you know what, I truly forgive you and I appreciate the fact that you're trying.
That I told my father that was the moment that the stuff broke. Because when you carry stuff, I carried stuff for 30 years before I forgave my dad. Really forgave him. Crystal said this, you're so right on the father point. My father also had nothing to do with me until 15 years ago. I decided then to forgive him and see what happened. I am very happy I did. He went right back to his old ways, but this time I had closure because I decided to end that this time. What Mr. Wilson is saying too, and I want to point this out, you're nobody's doormat. Okay.
No.
You can be cordial, but you're going to see signs. If the person has truly changed, you're going to see a difference in the conversation. You're going to see a difference in how, and they may be able to fake it for a while.
Yeah.
They may be able to. I've seen it, but you can't fake it all the time because truthfully, you cannot hide who you are.
That's right. Very true.
Now, this to me is a hard question, but I'm going to go ahead and I've done thrown all the other hard ones out there. You just, so I'm, to me, I get overwhelming sometimes. I feel like I'm overwhelming to people that help me. And I mean, I've got a roommate and, all that and been married and all that. I feel like I'm overwhelming to some people. When has it ever or does it ever get overwhelming in the care department because it's all the time? Do you ever just go, like, not that you need a break. That's not what I'm, do you say, how do you keep from, because it's not Kelly's fault. She can't help it. And I know Miss Wilson, man, she working and moving and going 12 hats and, and get 2 more. And then her son brings her 3 more. And then, and you got all this stuff. How do you keep from exploding? Not because you're necessarily angry with somebody, but all the time. How do you deal with that?
One of my favorite commercials is a commercial by the late Kobe Bryant, him and Kanye West, and he in the conversation he says, "I'm a different animal and the same beast." So as far as feeling overwhelmed, I'm never overwhelmed with Kelly because, of course, I understand who she is, and I understand what my assignment is in aiding her in her growth, her potential growth, and that also encompasses the growth of everybody in the household with me. So I was built for the ability to be able to handle, the situations that take place with, her attitude. Like, for instance, yesterday we had a little situation. Unfortunately, Kelly was a little angry, but that didn't change who I was. We just took a moment, stopped. And then I said, you know what? We'll let you, when your mother comes in, we'll talk with her. And that way we can all be on the same page and then we'll go from there. She sat back down in her chair. Her mother walked in and says, nope, this is what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and move forward. And we moved forward from there. And she understood what was going on. So, you only angry, like I said, you only really angry if you feel like it's a burden. If you feel like there's so many other things you could be doing, then you'll always feel like when you contemplate or think about those things, that it's too much or that it could be too much. But if you feel like, this is what you chose to do. It's like being a teacher. A teacher chooses to be a teacher, and I love teachers. Teachers are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, they're not paid what they're worth.
Nowhere near.
But they put in the effort to mold children and help them grow to become the adults that we see today and moving forward. So, they take abuse, and, being a caregiver is no different. You take abuse, you take attitude, you have things that you have to deal with every day. As the person grows, as the individual grows, those personalities change, and they're not always for the best. But if this is something you chose to do, you can adapt to that. And that's the key part right there, is the adaptability of the person who's giving care to be able to adjust to any situation and have the same outcome, which is the betterment of the individual you're caring for. That's the goal.
And the other part too, and I'm glad again, segue right into the discipline. There's a difference. Oh Lord Jesus, I just pulled a Miss Winnie. There's a difference in disciplining your child and beating the mess out of them.
Oh yeah.
I've been spanked twice in my entire life. It only take once. With me, it took twice. But that's it. And then it was Dennis Carter. If you don't, yes, mama. That's it. You learn, man, because discipline. You can. I've heard this, and they say my child is not my friend. He's my child. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I believe that you can be friends with your children on a certain level.
Correct.
Because if you want your child to trust you, if you want your child to understand you, I believe you got to understand. You've got to have the authority, but you don't have to be so authoritative that you make them feel small when they do something wrong. It's a guideline. It's guidance. It's teaching, because fathers are teachers. You're talking about, you are imprinting what you know. And for me, all I want to do, if God gives me a child, all I want to do is leave him a little bit better than I was. And if I can do that, and he goes off and makes millions, and I'm still alive, and and I'm just, hey, that's my son, whatever. He playing football for whatever team, Washington. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I want to leave it a little bit better than I had it. And I think that's, and I had it pretty good. I mean, but see, you even discipline calmly. Like, man, sometimes I got to be honest. Sometimes I'm just like, and then I think, Mr. Wilson didn't do that. I'm like, dang, I don't. But I keep coming back to you guys, because the Wilson family has imprinted so much upon this, that I've grown so much in my way to grow, but I've been nourished different. Like I said, most families get one set. I'm lucky to have two, because you guys are mothers and fathers to me, and you always have been. Very quickly, I grew to say, I got to get under these guys. I got to get, and just get underneath the wing a little bit and watch. I can learn stuff from watching Mr. Wilson. I want to do that. Like, and is it? I mean, is that the way to do it? Just to get under the wing and just.
That is the way to do it. You want to be around someone who's willing to teach you, who wants to teach you, who wants to share the information. Unfortunately, we do have people who they don't want to share information. They don't want to share teachings. They just want to tell you, do this, do that, but not really help you understand what are the benefits of the things that you're asking me to do. How am I going to grow from them? Just talking to Kelly, sometimes you sit there and listen to her and you go, where did that come from? But it's the growth of her being around us and listening to us, and us treating her as the adult she is, that has helped her mature. And that's what we want. That's what you want in life. You want to be around people who are going to help you mature and help you grow in a sense that you can take that information and pass it on to someone else on a better level, because of course you're imparting what else you learned along with what you were taught to give to someone else as well.
I know for a fact, and I want to read this out loud. You're a great father, Corey. It is just too bad there aren't more like you out there.
I appreciate that very much.
That but this one's authentic though. I've seen men that are like, I'm a great father. I'm this. I do this. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And Precious Mika, I love this. I knew when you got on this show, I said, man, y'all better get ready. I said at the beginning, before you were able to get on, we all know Kelly is raw and unfiltered. I think I said it last night on the video. Kelly is raw and unfiltered, but the level of connection that you two have, it is uncanny to me. She's in that front seat, you driving, and now, just that she she loves you not because she has to, because she does. It's just Kelly and Corey and Mama. I mean, it always has been, and that is the relationship you want with your children. It doesn't matter that she has a disability. Her love is the same, and I would dare say more than most without a disability, because they don't know how to let that level of love out.
No.
Would I be sitting in the truck with my father going? Because after about the third time, he, and I mean, just, but you understand that level that y'all have. So, what if you had to summarize it? Just what got it to the level that it's at now?
I would say what's got us here is just the growth. As she grows, you change, you adapt a little bit more to her growth, you adapt a little bit more to the situation, so you can actually help her grow even more. And you want to connect. Connecting with her is, for instance, I was helping her earlier, and she just leaned over and gave me a kiss on the cheek, just randomly. And that's the love and the connection that we have. It's always just randomness. It's never something that's planned. It could be, anytime, any moment, she'll just lean over and tap me on the arm, or she'll take her foot and she'll touch my foot, and that's what you want, is just that growth and that connection with whomever you're caring for or who you're involved with, because of course that growth is what helps you grow as well as them. And it just touched my heart when she did it, because I wasn't expecting it. I'm just sitting there and all of a sudden I get a kiss on the cheek, and it's like, oh wow, okay. Thank you. And she goes, yeah, I love you. And, that right there just set my heart on fire, because of the fact wasn't expecting
that right there is Kelly.
Yep.
That's Kelly in a nutshell. She is loving and understanding and compassionate. And sometimes, when she wants something, she wants it. But just like you said, we'll talk to your mom when she gets in, da-da-da-da. And you treat her as, you use words that she can understand. You treat her in ways that she can understand on her level, and it makes it so great. But
the funny part about that, which it could also be a completely different situation. Yes, she is very loving, but imagine her not receiving the care that we give her, and so many other people out there who have not received this type of care, that they could have grown up angry, upset, disappointed, and assuming that everyone that they come in contact with is the same way. And, it's unfortunate that it's like that, but we do have a lot of folks out there who have gone through those situations where they feel like everyone is out to get them or take advantage of them or abuse them. And, it just makes their growth harder.
Well, let's think about that for a second. And we got about, I'm just looking here real quick. I might need the boss lady to give me like 5 more minutes because if it's okay. But I got 3 questions left, and I want to talk about growth because you've mentioned that so many times in this show. When you have the right soil, and when you have the right fertile soil that they're placed into, meaning the environment, the people, okay, and they're given the food that they need, the nourishment that they need, the love that they need, the water that they need, all of that compacts into, there's different types of nourishment. Some gardeners will put music on for their plants.
Right.
Some gardener, Kelly has that radio on 24/7, all the time, radio and TV. But she learns and she knows, and it's, again, that commitment to allowing Kelly to be the best Kelly she can be, and getting her involved in things without hurting her. And Mom will talk about the surfing. She says she ain't never doing that again. But
that was a tough one there.
Yeah, but the right soil before the children are ever born starts with the parents and the commitment. at home at a young age when they're down in the diapers, because they're most impressionable from 6 months to what, 12? I mean, once they hit that 12, 13, you can't tell them nothing. See, they but I'm so amazed at the parents you guys have been to all your children. And it's hard enough raising a child with a disability, but a family to accept it, to understand it, to be part of it, that's all the vision. This Kelly's Choice and Let Go Radio and Disability Global Broadcast and all of that. All of this right now is part of the vision because it's connected. Mm-hmm. It's connected. And everything that you guys do, from getting up in the morning to going to bed at night, you're very positive. You don't allow negativity. I love that. Miss Winnie don't play that. I'm so proud to have you. But the other two questions I have: when you notice that growth starts to stunt, how do you correct it? Is it a disciplinary thing, or is it a combination?
You have to look at what stopped the growth. What was introduced into the environment to stop or stunt the growth, and then you have to figure out how to get around it. I use the word adapt a lot because, of course, everything we do is you have to adapt to situations. You can't stop. You can't become stagnant. You have to be able to move forward in a sense, and you have to be able to know how to move or maneuver around certain situations. So if you go into an environment where there's other people around and the person that you're caring for is attaching to that mentality, you have to realize that, you have to stop it or say, hey, look, I understand, things are happening, but on the same note, we still have to stay on task for you, so that way you don't pick up any kind of habits that may hinder you as you grow and you seek your independence. And that's where a lot of people make the mistake. When you're talking about raising a child, if you don't raise your child, the streets are going to raise your child. Mm-hmm. The TV, the radio, they're going to tell your child or impart in them information that you may not be privy to, or you may not know how to combat because, of course, you didn't hear it until it was too late. You may not have caught it. But if you give your child the right tools, when they hear these things, they can know what decisions to make based on the upbringing and the teachings that were instilled in them to know, okay, this is not going to benefit me, or it may benefit me. Let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. And that's what you want, is not only to move forward, but have a way to talk about what's going on and why you need to move forward, or why you need to adapt, or why you need to remove something from a situation to make it better for everyone.
Okay, last question I've got, and this one is it relates to me a little bit, and I saved this question for last because I didn't know the answer to it until I turned 40. If your father is on the road a lot, he drives trucks or he drives buses, or he, or the person that is in your life that has that father role is gone a lot, and the child comes up to you and says, Dad, look, we need to talk. I can't handle you being gone all the time. Can we do something about this? Can I come on the road with you? Something. When they start addressing that, that's a cry for help, because they're missing that the vitamins of their father's life that imprints on them. When you have that moment of, look, I'm busy, but I got to slow down and remember to take time because you are working all the time. And I know it's, how do you evaluate it and go, okay, do I need to slow back up a little bit? Do I need to put this on hold? How do you do that with your children? And if, they say, hey, I miss you. Can we slow down? Can we take some time? Is that just a vacation, or what do you do?
Well, it's a hard thing because you've built a life based on your work and your work ethic. Mm-hmm. And the lifestyle that you've built, everyone has become accustomed to it, even the child. But also on the same note, you have to look at, if I really want the relationship to be there for my family, then I have to figure out a way to make it work for everyone. So if that means, in a sense that, I'm going to have to, for instance, I have to bring Kelly on the road with me more often, I will. If it's something that I have to, take, if I have time, I can say, hey, look, on Thursday, I'm going to take off, or Friday, I'm going to take off. We're just going to spend a day together.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to make time, even in the sense of, because of course, money is all, who doesn't need money? Who doesn't want money? But on the same note, money doesn't always buy the relief that you need.
That's it right there. That's that part. That's what I was waiting on, because the money makes the world go round. No, people
make the world go.
Because if you don't have the people, they can't make the money.
That's right.
I want to thank you for being on the show, because, man, this is I hope we can get you back for part 2. Hope it don't take 3 years this time. This has been valuable. But I do want to give you the floor for anything you want to share. If you want people to get hold of you, or any final thoughts that you have just on what we talked about today, I'd love for you just to, and then I'll close this out. Stay with me after, though, because don't go nowhere.
No, I just like to say thank you. Thank you for having me on here. And what I like to share with people is just really pay attention and forgive, and understand that relationships are built on 2 people. It's not one. It's not a one. If one person is in something more than the other, then it's lopsided. So, you have to build a relationship with yourself. You have to build a relationship with those around you, family, friends, whatever the case may be, in order for you to see growth in yourself. Because you always want to mature. You always want to, your maturation should always be moving forward. An oak tree doesn't stop at 10 years. It keeps growing until it can't grow anymore. When the soil is not rich anymore, or the roots have reached on to something else and they can't get any further, that's when the tree is stunted. But then you can always remove that tree and plant it in new soil, and that tree can still grow. So you want to grow. You want to always mature.
Ooh. Last minute, the 30 seconds, just literally, if y'all are just coming in, go back and watch this show. You're going to learn something. I'm telling you, valuable information. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Wilson. I love you to death. You're amazing man, and just you do so many great things. But it's what comes from here, that genuine wanting to see people succeed, and always slow to anger and quick to listen, and sometimes just sitting back in the cut, chilling, not saying anything at all, observing what's going on. You can learn a lot just by doing that.
That's right.
It's hard for me because it's always moving, but I'm just
watch and learn.
But I do thank you for being on the show, guys. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can check me out on YouTube. My CP Does Not Define Me. Worth the Wait Cooking with DJ Carter, and Chairmaster Games. My Instagram, My CP Does Not Define Me. My Twitter, My CP Does Not Define Me at Minion Sports. My blog, CarterDJ85 at wixsite.com. And I always say, if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is Victor J with the Roll Away, saying we'll see you next week for episode 81 of My CP Does Not Define Me.
Have a good one, everybody.
That's going to do it for this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. As always, you can catch us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Disability Global Broadcast and Facebook Live. If you haven't already checked out our YouTube channel, My CP Does Not Define Me, we post all of the show videos in our My CP playlist. I'm your host, D to the J with the Roll Away. And if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. We'll see you next week.